Welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Romance Nights. We are your hosts, Colleen,
And I'm Marjorie.
and tonight we're going to discuss romance genres, subgenres, and tropes. So, I know that when I first started reading romance books, I had no idea what subgenres were and tropes. So, I'm just going to give you a few examples for any newbies here. So you have your subgenres, which would be your sports romance, dark romance. What other examples did I write on here? Dark academia, rock star romance, horror, erotica, stuff like that. And then one down from that's going to be your tropes, your, in other words, kinks, your BDSMs, your degradation, knife play, blood play, all that, all that kind of good stuff. So, but we'll give you some examples and we'll go through everyone together.
Sounds good. I mean, like, do you want me to go first, like my favorite or what? Like my go-to, I guess.
Yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
just whatever.
So, like for me, my go-to subgenre would be mafia.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you follow me on TikTok, you'll see it. It's the majority of the books that I read are mafia, but that's because they're fast-paced, there's action, there's
Right.
the dark sense of humor, and the MMC is always going to be unhinged for the most part. So that's, yeah. Yeah. And like perfect example, I guess more or less authors would be Eva Winners, Jagger Cole, um, Jill Ramsauer. They're like mafia
Mm-hmm.
that I've read. I mean, I've read other ones. Oh, Kylie Kent has mafia as well.
Yeah.
So, um, those are the ones that I it's always my go-to if I'm on a slump. I'll go back and read a mafia romance by authors that I know. I'm
Right.
very particular. I don't usually branch out to other authors just because I'm like I said, I'm very particular with when it comes to mafia. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
That's
I've
what makes us different. I'll
yeah.
I'll read anybody or anything, give it a go.
Well, I mean, I've tried other authors. It's just their pacing is
Mm,
different, or how they do their plot. It's different. I mean, like with for me with mafia romance, I feel like they should be fast paced. If it's super slow, then I'm gonna get
I
bored.
agree. Yeah, you need something that's going to keep you interested. And that's what you
Mhm.
expect with the mafia, those types of romances. It's like who's killing who,
Right,
who's getting kidnapped, who's
right,
being tortured. So,
yeah.
yeah, I agree with that. And you're the one that turned me on to Kylie Ken. I just finished up her book. And that one I thought was very interesting because you took two
Worlds.
subgenres and you put them together. You had hockey and mafia. So that was really fun. I liked
Yeah.
that one. What was that? Lighted Up Red, right?
Yep. But we can't
Yep.
talk about it now.
We're not just, it's
Yeah.
out, but we're not
It's out.
talking about
Forget
it.
about
But
it.
I
Yeah.
just wanted to, but that
Because
was really good.
yeah.
So
I like
sometimes you'll see that the
mhm.
crossover of, you bring subgenres together.
Mhm. Yeah, but they
Yeah.
have to get really written really well. It's not just
Right.
like, oh, we're just gonna throw it in and it doesn't make sense. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason the Light It Up Red made sense was because there's already an established mafia world
Right.
in Kylie's Cans, even though, if you haven't read those ones, it's still fine. It still makes sense because there's already an established mafia world in that book.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's what's good. I like that when it's not just one standalone mafia romance. It's
mhm,
like you have all the side characters and you're like, well, what happens with this one and that one? And I love it when the authors branch out and all the side
mhm.
characters or a good
Oh, yeah.
portion of them get their
Mhm.
own books because it's like you're still in the world.
Yeah. Which I mean, I will tell you, they are getting majority of the characters that you saw in that book or read in that book have their own, or they will get their own.
Yeah. And
That's what I'm just gonna say.
yeah, Jagger Cole too. That's
Same thing
another
with Jagger
author you
Cole. Yeah.
recommended to me and
Mhm.
it's great because sometimes it's like when it's one and done, I'm like, but I need more. Well, what happened to
Mhm.
this one? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I love his. I mean, and I'm like, I think I'm on his. I'm doing his backlog, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
in the second series, but it's like the. I feel like those were the second generation, maybe, or something that
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like.
Yeah.
So like the very first series that I read was first gen, I guess, and then the next one that I'm currently reading now is like the second gen, but they were younger. So they're like the same age as the adults that we just read. So their story
Okay.
was just
Yeah.
started when they were younger. But yeah. So
Well, let me ask you this. So let's just pretend I'm a newbie. I'm
mhm.
coming into the romance world, and you're recommending to me mafia romance. Now, I've never read it before, and I say that I'm okay with triggers, but if I was just starting out, what book or author would you recommend?
I would say Kylie
Yeah,
Ann, because um, I feel like her mafia series is a almost like a like it's still dark, but it's not super dark compared to
agreed.
Jaggers and Eva. Like Eva Winners has some light-ish, like her light-ish, but it's still like they're still triggering, I think. I mean,
Right.
depending on other people. I mean, you've read
Yes.
her, two at least two of her books, and they're not like super light. So I would
Yeah.
say Kylie's would be a little bit lighter.
I agree with that.
You still have to check the trigger warning, but they're not as dark like
Mm-hmm.
Jaggers or Eva Winners. So
Okay. So
that's
that's
why
good. So anybody new to
could
the
go.
world of dark romance,
Yeah.
um, that would be a good starting point, I think.
Mhm.
So yeah. I don't remember. I think like when I started with I stumbled upon mafia romance,
Mm.
but I don't trigger easy. I mean, I at 9 years
Yeah.
old, I was watching horror movies. So I
Same.
I was like, what is this? What's happening? And I was like, I need
Yeah.
another one and another one.
I think my very first mafia would be Kylie. I mean, not Kylie. No, between Kylie or Eva. I think it's one of those two. I
Yeah.
just don't remember. Um, but I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't triggered because same as you. I grew up watching horror movies all the
Yeah.
time. So I mean, for Christmas, that's what we're gonna watch, like
Yeah.
horror movies, and like yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's just my genre that I like to watch is horror movies. So it's like, I mean, what is trigger warning? Like, I think for me, it's not even trigger warnings. It's like the shock factor that turns me off on a book. It's like yeah, we've talked about this before. If it doesn't
Uh-huh.
make sense, then I don't want to read it. If you're just doing it for the shock value of it, then I
Yeah.
don't want to. Like, I'd rather watch a movie that has like shock factor in it because then it's a movie. It's different. It's like, it's just,
But yeah, I
it
think
hits
we're on the same
different.
page. Yeah, with that. But I feel like if that's what you want to do and that's what you want to write, well,
Go for it.
this will help us roll into horror erotica.
Yeah.
That is another I would call that a subgenre.
Subgenre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's still dark, I guess, but it's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
If that's your thing, then that's good and
Mm.
shock value and all that is for you. So, but then I don't feel like those books, and this is just my opinion, it doesn't mean it's the word of the Lord, but then I feel like you don't always have to have a happy ever after because then
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I guess because if they call it romance, because sometimes they
Yeah.
would call it romance. Or I guess they call it romance, which I, for me, it doesn't make sense when they have a happy ever after because some of the, well, whatever horror erotica I've read, some of the male main characters, it's just like it doesn't make sense for them to have a
No,
happy ever after. Just
unless the female is just as
this is
unhinged and messed up, then fine, that's their
yeah.
version. But if she's, for
It's
example, kidnapped,
right. Then it doesn't and
then it's like there's no way.
right. I mean, I know it's fiction. It will make
I know.
we make it or they make it work. But I just think like how like where they says like, oh, the MMC is what did they call it? Shit. Not unhinged. Not redeemable. But sometimes, like when I read that, like, well, they'll say it's like, oh, this is a MMC that's not redeemable, and then I read the book, and I'm just like, well, he's morally black. He still does something that is redeemable. Perfect
Right.
example is um, Lola King's Beautiful Fiend.
Okay.
The
Never read that. Never read
MMC
her.
is definitely morally black. Like his speech, he's just unhinged. He's like when you read him, it's like there's no way that there's gonna be a happy ever after just because he doesn't seem like he's redeemable.
Right.
But then you get to that pivotal moment in the book where he does something, and it's like, okay, well, so you turn him around. You still turn him around, but he's still that morally black character, but you did make him do something that make you fall in love with him more.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, well, it makes sense that they're, that they will have a happy ever after.
I'm just gonna say one name. You know
Okay.
what I'm gonna say.
No, you don't.
Oh,
You're gonna say it. I'm not gonna say
Alistair.
it. Oh, yeah.
You remember I was
Yeah, you didn't like
in
him.
that book, I was like, no, I don't like him. It's not gonna happen.
Hmm.
I'm not feeling it. And then
Yeah,
like around the
but
60% mark, I was like, I text you, I was like, okay.
now you like it. Yeah, like so now it makes sense, right? That's like so there's that pivotal moment that you'll shift.
Yeah.
There's a shift. But with horror erotica, sometimes there's no shift at all. It's like I don't know. It's like I just yeah. It's just not
I'm
my genre that I would read, I
yeah.
guess. It's just not for me. I mean, I know a lot of people love it and enjoy it, and that's fine. I've read one, I'm one and done, and I'm like, I'm okay. I'm not gonna read
I
it.
don't
Just
know. I don't think if I've read one. Now,
yes, you
Satan's
have.
Affair by H.D. Carlton, would
I
you
don't
consider that horror erotica or
I don't
I
think so. I think
mean,
it's more like
no?
I don't think it was. It's more is it even white choose? I think it's a white choose. Right. Yeah, it is a white choose
Okay.
definitely, but like
Yeah,
yeah, but
that
you
was
have to but
wild.
yeah, I don't think it would be a horror erotica. I mean,
No? Okay.
we've read one horror erotica that we didn't like. We're not going to say what it is.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, I think you baited for this author.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so they they said it was a dark romance, but it's not dark romance. It's different. It's not dark romance. It's
It's
horror
different.
erotica. It is. I mean, dark romance versus horror erotica are like two different,
Yeah.
themes. So, but that was like I feel like that was mislabeled or yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, it should. It's not dark romance. Like, let's be
Mm.
realistic. It's not. It's not.
Well, I think we've both just decided that that's not for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a fine line for me, and I'm okay with 99%
Mhm,
of the triggers out there.
mhm.
But
I don't think it will. I read the triggers and I was like, fine, because there was like one point that I was like, ew, like why would you do that? But okay, whatever. I went past that. But then there's that one scene that I didn't really like that was just like it turned me off. I mean I pushed through it. But then there is like a similar kind of similar thing to another book, but I love that book, the rom-com one. I don't want to like
oh yeah.
I don't want to say the title
Yeah.
because then people will know. So I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But like you
So
know what I'm talking about,
we'll just
right?
move on from here. So that's two subgenres under our belts here.
Uh-huh.
Um let's move on to this is one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Why choose? That for again anyone that doesn't know, that's when there's multiple, well, I shouldn't say men, it could be really anybody, but it's a relationship. The ones that I've read are usually relationships with one female and more than one, or more than two, more than one. Is that to be, if it's
It's more than
two, then
one
it's
because
a
I think
throuple, but
yeah, yeah, but they
more
don't
than
call it
one
yeah,
love
they don't call it
interest.
a throuple though. Nobody
No.
calls it throuple. So
What are you saying? I'm old?
no, 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 no. I said like nobody like says it as a throuple. They still put it as white
Yeah.
juice. So,
So it's more than one love interest, we'll
mhm.
say, regardless of gender. Um, in my opinion, a good starting point, again, this is another one I stumbled into, was Brutal Boys of Everlake Prep. That we talked about this on the last episode. That is
That's a good starting point. I thought that was a bully romance.
Well, I mean, for why choose? Because it isn't
Good.
all in. It's
Okay.
not like immediately this female character's getting three dicks at once. You know, it's like it's like it gradually builds. Unfiltered,
That's
Marjorie,
true.
unfiltered.
Like I'm still thinking, like, oh, are we on TikTok live right now? We're
No.
not. We're like recording this. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
For
fine.
for sexual prowess, I will say that that's a good starting point if you
Uh-huh.
don't have an issue with bully.
Yeah.
And then we talked about this. Another really good one. I don't think you read it. Did you read the Harley Quinn crew?
No, I
That's
haven't.
also by
The same.
Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. That's
Mhm.
really good. That's Sinner's
Yeah.
Playground. Yeah.
So mine would be like when I first got into dark romance, the surprise white shoes romance that I didn't realize was it's by Callie Rose. I'm pretty sure it's Callie Rose. It's
Oh, what did I
yeah.
read? I don't know.
Hold on. I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna look at it on my Kindle or my phone. So it's called Ruthless Game by Callie Rose. The first book is Sweet Obsession. So
Okay.
and it's dark, but it's not like bad. It's like white shoes that has like secret society in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't uber dark. And when it first started, it was like one guy, and then the second book they added it it added the best friend, and then
Okay.
the third book the other best friend, so it ended up three guys, one female. But I didn't know that. I just saw somebody recommending it on TikTok, and I was like, oh,
Right.
that sounds good. So I was like, okay, well, book one ends in a cliffhanger, but they're all already all out. So I was like, okay, let's go to the second book. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what is going on? Like, I mean, without um giving out. But it's like that's kind of probably like an entry to dark romance and like white shoes, I would say
Right.
that. Or Rachel Lee's Bastards of Boulder Cove.
Yes, that's a really
Um
good series.
it's a good series if you like bully romance. Again,
Yeah.
it's not uber dark as well, but it's like a high school setting, and then once you finish that, go to
College.
the college one, Wicked Boys of BCU.
Mm-hmm.
Same patterns, like every book in that trilogy is like focuses on one of the MMC, like her,
Yeah.
as they add them on, So
Yeah.
I mean, I have a favorite in each book. I don't remember
Yeah.
who's my favorite in Cali Rose because it's been forever. It's like more than 2 years since I read that. But like with Rachel Lee, I with Bastards of Boulder Cove, I have one favorite, and then same thing at the Wicked Boys of BCU.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite on that?
Girl, you don't know. I don't remember names.
Mm.
Um, I think the problem with me is I read too, and you're great with names, but I read too much
I'm not great.
right away. I
Oh.
forget everybody's name. I can tell you in my favorite series that was one of my top five,
Mhm.
the Kings of Quarantine, that Brutal Boys of Everlake Prep.
Mhm.
I don't even know if I'm going to say his name right. Kyan.
I don't know.
Kyan. He was
Maybe.
my favorite. He
Oh,
was
okay.
the one. I always like the one that's like rough around the edges
Mhm.
and more brutal.
Yeah.
But he ends up being the one who would like walk through fire for
Yeah.
her.
Same thing like with Rachel Lee's like uh Bastards of Boulder Cove. Nero, is it Neo or Nero? It's one of those. I think it's Neo. I'm pretty sure it's Neo. Correct me if I'm wrong. Whatever. You know what? I'm just gonna Google it now. Good. So
If you
now,
just go with it, I'll believe you.
but he was the last book that
Okay.
because he's like out of all the three, he was like the most asshole-ish to her, and that's always the MMCs that I go for, is like the asshole. But
Me too.
when you actually read his book, you can tell like he had feelings for her
Okay.
a lot. For he just wasn't showing it and all that stuff, because when she began, she was with the very first guy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the other two guys, but I was just like, no, I love him because he would be that one that would be like, will
Yeah.
protect her. I mean, not that I'm saying that the other two won't protect her, but he will.
It's just different with
Hmm.
those. Those are usually my favorite too. Just like, did you ever read Den of Vipers?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that was really good.
I know everybody. Well, so this is the thing. Everybody was like, like blah blah blah, like read it, read it, read it. But then I'm just like, I don't know. Like I hear mix. Like one group would be like, oh my god, it's like the best book, and then the other one's saying this is shitty
I
book or
liked it.
whatever. So I mean, oh okay, so it's
Neo,
Neo
okay.
is the name. And then in Wicked Boys of BCU, my favorite was
Okay.
Ridge, and the last one. I forgot the last one too. Shit. I think it's Lev, maybe something like that. Somebody's gonna correct me. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, but like it's the first and the last one. I don't have a problem with Maddox. I just like I wanted I like the other two better.
We like
That's
what we like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, like
Well,
the very last book, the very last guy. Well, actually, no. Ridge and Lev are kind of like almost the same unhingedness. They're just like they're on a level playing field. So
I know.
yeah,
And what's funny is like if I would love for my husband to try and talk to me like that because he'd be homeless. So why do we accept it in books
I don't
and
know.
then in
It's
real
different.
life?
I mean, I'm like, I'm not even gonna. It's like, well, my husband tends to be an asshole, but I give it back. So it's kind of like
Oh, it's
it's
okay.
an equal, like, yeah, it's an equal. But I also know that he tends to be an asshole, so it's not like surprise. No, I already know. So
No, my husband's a golden retriever.
mm.
Definitely.
I'm okay that with him being like he's the alpha kind of thing in our relationship and stuff. But it's not like, oh, like you do all this like it's
Yeah.
equal, but he has that alpha asshole tendencies, I guess. That's
I
what you
think
want
my
to call.
husband's afraid of me.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's like we're equal. He gets annoyed with how I think if I would describe myself, I would probably be like that. You know how like majority of the time I don't like FMCs.
Yeah.
I am one of those FMCs that you probably don't like, and that I'm like
Time to
I'm
look
okay,
within yourself then.
right? But I think that's probably why I get annoyed. Well, not all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when it's a book you're reading, it's like they dramatize it a little bit more
Yeah, of course.
because they have to get a reaction out of you because otherwise you won't read a book.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, you don't want
Mhm.
if I wanted a book that read like my life, I wouldn't read. I can
Yeah, well,
just
that's true. Like, I'm just gonna stare at my life, but also like with my favorite authors, there's not a lot of FMCs that I don't like in a series or like with my favorite authors. Majority of them, like with Evil Winners, Kylie Kent, um, Jagger, majority of the ones that I've read, I really like.
Yeah,
There's
I agree. I'm
there's
trying
few
to
and far
think.
in between that I wouldn't like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
I
mean
just don't
maybe
like the whiny ones.
like maybe in the beginning, when you're first kind of starting to read them, like they're getting introduced, maybe I don't like them, and then eventually
Yeah.
as you go on with the story, it's like, oh, okay, well, she's
Yeah. Well, if
nice.
an author can do that, that's great character development.
Hmm. Yeah, see,
It's
I
growth.
like where the characters develop better. They don't
Hmm.
regress. We've talked about this. There's one author that she made that one character regresses, and I'm just like, nope, I can't. Like, you're in the
Yeah,
third book, they should not be regressing
I know.
worse than what they were in book one. Because in book one, you made them like strong, independent, badass FMC. And then all of a sudden, book three, you're like, oh, I'm gonna be like this timid, like, or I'm just like,
No, I
what
can't
is
read
wrong
a
with you?
character
Like,
like that.
you can't. You should be progressing, not regressing, in my opinion. My opinion.
I
Okay.
agree with you. I'm with you on that. And I don't know a lot of people that would. So,
Yeah, because when you're reading, you like progression, not regression. Because
yeah.
otherwise, you should have started with them with that attitude and then they progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I can't well, I shouldn't say I don't like it because if written right, I'm okay with it.
Mhm.
But that damn third act breakup, it's like, come on.
I don't like those.
But like the one I just read, it
Mhm.
made sense. It
Mhm.
wasn't a miscommunication thing. It was
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Kylie Kent.
Oh, yes, that
It
made
made
sense.
sense. It was for the sacrifice of the
Mhm.
other for their love. That
Yeah,
makes sense. If it's going to be some dumb shit and it's
right. I
because,
don't
oh
like that.
my God, you were talking to that girl, like
Yeah,
something
no.
like that, I can't.
Yeah, but majority of third act breakup are like that though. Like the
I know.
like miscommunication, the assumption, and all that stuff. I rather like that. Like if they were like still new to the relationship, like they're just getting in, then
Yeah,
there's not a lot of trust. So it's like around the 50% mark.
that makes sense.
I'm okay with that because then
Mm-hmm.
you still have like half. You're in the halfway point, and then by the
Mm-hmm.
75%, they should be getting back together. Like they figured their shit out. Yeah.
75%, you're fucking toxic and you don't belong together. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like the third act breakup where it's like between 80-90% of the book. Then I'm just like, because now,
you got 10% to get
because,
back together.
yeah, because then I feel like then you're going to fucking rush it. Like
Right.
you're going to rush through that. Like, and I don't like that. Like, I'd rather them break up early on, like the halfway point, because then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
there's something happening. There's like, they're gonna get back together, obviously, unless you're gonna have a duet or a trilogy, then it's like,
Oh,
well, so
yeah. I mean,
like
as
on
a
a
cliffhanger, it's
yeah,
okay, I
yeah,
suppose.
that's
Yeah.
fine. Like on a trilogy, but it has to make sense though. Like on a trilogy, because like on a trilogy, I feel like the second and the third book, there's no more breakup. It's more of like answering all the conflicts or
Right.
all the plot in there. If they still break up in there, then just give them a new a new love interest at this point. They should not be together.
Agreed.
Yeah. So
Oh, all right. Well,
mhm.
I'm gonna
Wait.
tell you the next one, and then you're gonna give me your favorites, and you're gonna talk about it because I have not read very many of the sports romance
Okay.
or like the hockey romance.
Okay. Well, so
Oh,
I read football and hockey. I
right.
prefer hockey. I just feel like it's like because hockey is really I feel like it's more aggressive than the football. I mean, there's aggression, but I feel like hockey is more aggressive. So I feel like the MMCs are very aggressive from the get go. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just gonna get aggressive. My favorite are CR Jane's The Fucking Wrong
I have to
series.
read that.
You have to read them.
I know.
They are they're morally gray, I would say. I don't think they're pitch black, but like they're morally gray. I mean, they toe the line ish, but it's a lot of stalker romance in it, like on them, and they are definitely like alpha holes. Like just like yeah, okay, Like I would say
Sold.
yeah, you start with the fucking wrong number,
Mm-hmm.
which is Lincoln and I forgot her name, whatever her name is. Monroe. Okay, yes. So Lincoln and Monroe. I love Lincoln. Lincoln is my favorite out of the series. My second favorite would be the third book, which is Disney's book. Ari is fine, which is the second book, which is the fucking wrong guy.
Okay.
Um, he's just like more funny. Like he's funny. He's like he has like a twisted dark sense of humor
Mm-hmm.
and you wouldn't think like, oh shit, like he can be like aggressive and all that stuff because he's very much a Taylor Swift fan. So he's like
Oh,
he's very funny. Also, one of the things that I love in this series is the group chats. Group chats are hilarious, I feel like they're hilarious. So I like those. And then the fourth one is coming out, which is I forgot the name. Oh, The Fucking Wrong Man. Um,
okay.
comes out next month, June.
Okay. Yeah, right.
The third book was The Fucking Wrong Date. The Fucking Wrong Date. Yeah.
I
I
love
had
the
to like think.
titles.
Well, yeah, but it makes sense. Like, because some people are like, okay, I understood why the first one's called The Fucking Wrong Number, and then the second one was like The Fucking Wrong Guy. They make sense, but then on the third one, it's like they don't understand. And I was like, well, it was in the very beginning why it said why the title is the title. It's in the very beginning why it was
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
saw another author write something like similar to that title.
Oh, yeah. I don't know yet. I don't know.
I don't even, I couldn't even tell you who it was. I just happened to be scrolling through TikTok or something
Yeah.
and I saw it.
And then the other one is Hockey Gods by S. Massery. That's
Oh, yeah.
it's 5 books. It's finished already. Um, I love all of them. Again, they're like I feel like the very first book, the MMC Grayson, who's my favorite in the series. Not a lot of people like that book for some reason. Well, not for some reason. Not a lot of people like it because of how Grayson was. He's total
Okay.
douchebag. Like he was a dick. Like just I feel yeah, I would say he toes the line between morally gray, morally black because of how
I
he
was just going
treated.
to ask, would you say
Yeah,
gray or
it toes the line because of how he was with Violet.
okay.
But there's a reason though. Like in Grayson's head, it made sense kind of thing. Like this is a very enemies to lovers bully
My
romance.
favorite.
Yeah, and it would make sense because I think there is he had a reason for why he was doing it. But it was an assumption on his part somewhat. But
Right.
until it gets revealed, until they talk about it, then yeah. So
Okay.
yeah,
I think
those
the
are two
only those are your two favorites.
for
Those are
hockey.
hockey.
Well,
Okay.
and then now like with Kylie Kent's hockey series, which is Vancouver Knights, that one is part of that series. They're lighter. They're still kind of like grayish
Yeah, I would agree.
portions, yeah, grayish. But if you're wanting to do lighter and you don't want to like go head straight into those two Hockey Gods or the Pucking Wrong series, I would say Vancouver Knights. You should, it would be like an
And it's a
easy
quick
read.
read. So
Yeah, they were
it's
quick read
yeah.
because the Pucking Wrong series and Hockey Gods, they're a little bit longer.
Hmm.
And then I've read football, but I think the only football romances that I've read are Bella Matthews's book because hers
Okay.
is majority of hers is football. I mean, she has a hockey, which is her current series that she's writing is hockey. She just
Oh, and then she had the MMA one.
yeah,
That
she had
one.
MMA, but it's like one book of
Yeah.
MMA, but majority of them is either billionaire or football,
Okay.
which is fine. I mean, football is fine. It's just like like I wouldn't say Bella Matthews is dark. She's more probably contemporary. I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
few that I've read, I would agree.
yeah, I mean, she has uh like an entry.
Angsty.
Yeah, she has an
Yeah.
entry point for like a dark. Like, there's that one book that I would say it's her darkest. It dark out of all her books, but that's because it has mafia in it. So, but it wasn't like super dark.
Yeah.
But it was still like it was still a great book, but it's mafia in it, so I would expect it to be a like gray, morally gray character for that if it's a mafia
Yeah.
romance.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think I've read any. I think the only very few sports
Mhm,
romance.
mhm,
Kylie Kent, Bella Matthews, the couple of books that I read there. It's not really my go-to, and it's not
mhm,
for any other reason than I kind of just stuck to for a while the Why Choose, the
mhm,
Mafia, the and another one, motorcycle romance,
mhm.
so
I have another sports romance. It's Ilsa Madden Mills. She does football a lot,
oh,
but
okay.
they're like contemporary. So I read hers, but there's one book that I really love from her, which was Dear Ava. It was a high school romance. I don't remember if there's sports in it, but it's a high school romance. So I love that book, and so I would read her once in a while
Mm-hmm.
if I'm really wanting to like read um sports, football kind of thing. If, like I'm done with Bella's, I'm caught up with Bella's, so I would read hers, but it's few and far in between. I stick to
Yeah,
dark.
you're in the
Otherwise, I'll
mafia
be
for right now.
yeah, yeah, mafia. I need to get back to hockey, which I'll probably get back to soon.
Yeah, I got to do
Mm.
that myself. Mm. All right, my little list.
Yeah, your
So we
list.
covered that. We did the mafia, the sports. Oh, Dark Academia.
Mm. So that's
Um,
you
that's a
start with
good
that.
one. I don't haven't read very many.
Because
Um,
so what is Dark Academia?
so what comes to mind is like your high school bully type romances, and a good
Mm-hmm.
example of that would be PH Nix,
Mm-hmm.
the Twisted Selection, Ruthless
Oh,
Rejection,
Edgewood,
Edgewood
Edgewood
Academy
Academy
Elite.
Elite. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
that's a
haven't
good.
finished that one, but that's
Yeah,
also a Why Choose Secret Society.
yeah, yeah. It
So,
isn't by itself, right?
yeah. So what I've noticed with Dark Academia is, well, from what
Secret
I've
Society.
read, it's like they're heavy on like if it's high school, it's always bully romance, enemies
Uh-huh.
to lovers. It's heavy on that. College, same thing. It's like bully, enemies to lovers, and then sometimes it will be like Secret Society. Um,
Yeah.
so that's what I mean, like perfect example is the Lord's series because they did start in like it's
Oh,
college,
true.
it's secret society,
Yes.
it's bully,
That's no
like
white shoes.
it's
Right.
not white shoes, but yeah, it's dark academia.
You're right.
Um,
That's super dark.
yeah, super dark.
So if you're just
Um,
starting out, this isn't for you just yet.
no, I can't even think of like high school or college romance that I read that are like entry level. Well, unless you do Bella Matthews, because hers are like entry level, but
Okay.
you know, I would so you can't really like because Dark Academia is dark. I mean,
A.L. Maruga has one. I think
yeah,
it's 3 books, but that she's trigger happy. So
yeah.
that's not a
So
starting point.
yeah, it's hard to recommend anything for Dark Academia because most of them are like really dark anyway.
Hmm.
Um, because bully when somebody says bully, you it's gonna be dark. It's gonna go dark. Like perfect example is Selena. Um,
Whew.
hers are dark. They're
Yeah.
high
I gotta.
school. All of I think yeah, the ones that I read are high school and then yeah, they're high school. I don't think they haven't done college yet. So they're high school. Um like the first series that I read was Elite. Willow Heights Prep Academy, the Elite, which
Is that the
was
bad apple one or?
no, that's Bully Me, Betray Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's Crystal and Devlin's story. It's a trilogy. I feel like it was fast paced. I wasn't bored because I read those back to back. And then The Exile is Willow
Okay.
not Willow, Crystal's twin brother, Royal and Harper. That one is not an entry level. Like, I don't think you're not prepared for Royal. I would say this, you're not prepared for Royal. But if you've read his twin sister's book, you'll understand why he became who he is in his series. Like why
Okay.
he's because I've I've heard one, like people that started with that. And I was like, well, there is a reason why he's the way he is now in this series of his, like why he is. You have to read the other one. There was a reason. Like it's their own series, but it will make sense if
Yeah.
you've read the first series
So
first.
definitely read in order, you're
Yeah,
saying.
I would
Yeah.
say read in order because if you start with yeah, nobody's prepared for Royal. Okay, like Royal is pitch black. Like, like when I was reading that, I'm like, I don't know if they're gonna end up together. Like, because there is at one point I don't remember which book. again, I read them back to back just because I was like, I need to know what's happening. Um, I was reading. There's that one point where I was reading, and I was like, I don't know if they're gonna survive because there is, I don't know which book, but they weren't really together
Uh-huh.
because of that happen with what happened, which makes sense because it's like that happened to me. It's like, go fuck yourself. Do not
Right,
come.
right.
I don't care if you grovel, and Royal doesn't even grovel either. There's like, he's just a fucking dick. Like,
He's like, this is what it is, and you're gonna
yeah,
deal with
pretty
it.
much. Yeah, like I mean, granted, like Harper is a badass. I don't have any complaints. Like she would be that FMC that can deal with him. Like there's no other love interest for Royal besides Harper. Because he's, if they would have given him a different FMC, I don't, that one's not gonna survive. Like, so Harper was perfect for him. Um, but yeah, like I mean, he did he did some stuff for her, but you wouldn't think that it was groveling. Like I mean, like he's just like, I know she's like, we're gonna end up together, pretty much.
Oh gosh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Selena's a tough one. Her books are good, but it's definitely they're on the
dark dark side.
triggery side for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I read The Rain King,
I
like
haven't
that
that one yet.
series. That was whew, that was something. It was good though.
Yeah, but that one is like um the other generation, the previous generation.
Yes, because it took place in the 90s.
Yeah, so it
Yes.
yeah, that's what I heard. It's like, I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to read the other ones because
I
they're
didn't know that
different.
it was
Yeah.
connected.
I
Okay.
only found out somebody said something that they were connected because I guess some character, like the parents characters on the other series, kind of get mentioned over there or
Okay.
something like that. um I read Preston's story. His was a duet. Boy, that was a doozy too, because it's like, oh my god, you are horrible. Like he kidnaps her pretty much.
Mm,
Like it's almost like it's Beauty and the Beast kind of thing.
okay.
So, but I mean, eventually, like, oh, okay, like I didn't like the FMC in the beginning. I mean, eventually, I was just like, okay, at this point, just like to me, it's like when I was reading it. At this point, just like quit fighting it. Quit fighting it. Like, come on, like he's
This
not
is your
gonna.
life now. Deal
Yeah,
with
this is
it.
your life. You're not gonna go anywhere. It is what it is. Let's get with the program at some point.
Right.
And then um the other cousin, what's his name? The one that she's writing right now. It's not done yet. So that's why
Oh, okay.
I read book 1, Colt story. I read book 1. I haven't read book 2 and 3 because there's more, I think. I don't think it's finished. I don't, yeah. I'm waiting for it to finish because they were like, there's too many gaps and stuff. And I was
Okay.
just like, yeah. There was one character that I love in Cult Story. I loved her in the other books that she was, as a
Mhm.
secondary character. And then in here, I was just like, oh my God, I don't like you. I hate you. Can we just remove you from the story so I don't have to like read about you?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get back on that in my free time,
because
trying to catch up.
yeah, they were getting longer too. Because
Her
I
books are a bit long.
well, they started getting longer after Royals series.
Okay.
I noticed it started getting longer, and I'm just like, okay, like, and then there's yeah, I couldn't read them back to back. So
Mm.
well, and her publishing too, like when she published it was like spaced out, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna wait.
Better to wait, yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have because I tend to forget things and I'd be like,
Yeah.
wait, what? And I have to go back to the last few chapters of the book
Yeah, see, I
before.
don't like that because then I'm
I
like,
know.
I don't have time to like reread shit.
I know.
I mean, the only one that I have patience to reread it's the Mindfuck series. That's the only one because it's fast paced. They're
It is
tiny books.
fast paced, I'll say
They're tiny
that.
books. So I'm
Yeah.
like, they're tiny book. They're like less than 150 pages. I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can reread that.
Mm.
You know. So those are like the high school, college ones. I mean,
Yeah.
I like
Um,
reading those. I mean, as long as they're all 18, even though it's like
right.
with the high school, they're all, like they're 18 or whatever, or close to at least 18. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, and I'm going to bring up one you hate.
Which one?
I shouldn't say hate, you just prefer not to. It's the taboo.
Yeah, I don't have any comments on that. I don't see any posts because
Yeah.
I don't read it. Like if I hear what it is, I'm just like, yep, that's
Well,
my line. It's not a trigger. It's just like a line that I'm not gonna cross.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love it.
That's
I don't know what that says about me, but
okay.
I
Like I
love a
said,
good taboo romance.
mm,
And like I said, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it it's just a quick palate cleanse for me. It's
yeah.
like, let me get through this little novella. It's like resetting my brain because there's going to be little to zero plot.
Right.
So it's just going to do that
Yeah.
and then I can get into something good. So we won't spend too much time on that, but
Yeah.
I'd love a good taboo. Um
Same
and
thing. It's
then I don't
kind of like same as like Forbidden, like some of those novellas that
yes.
are forbidden, like
I
I
love
would
both.
read those. Those I would read like novellas. And that the perfect example for that is like Eva Marx. She well, her older work were like novellas. Um so I would be able to like read her super fast because
Okay.
her
Yeah.
older ones because they're like less than 25 chapters. I'm okay. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I
quick
wouldn't want a
paced.
whole ass, you know, 300 plus pages
Mhm.
of taboo. It's not necessary.
Right. Yeah.
Forbidden I can do like in the sense of if it's a step sibling romance
Hmm.
or teacher student.
Yeah. Or like the ex boyfriend's dad,
Oh yeah,
stuff like
that's a
that.
good one.
Those were good. Those are like the forbidden romance that I would like
Yeah,
do. It's like, and that's fine to be for like a um full book, but
right.
it has to make sense still. I mean, perfect example was Praise by Sarah Kate.
Such a good book.
It's a good book. That's the very first Sarah Kate I
Me
read,
too.
and I fell in love with that series. Do I like all of the books? No.
Oh.
But definitely my favorite is Praise, just because Emerson is just
That office scene, I will never forget it in the
yeah.
beginning.
Mm-hmm.
He
Well, it's just Emerson. It just hits different. Like, come on,
yeah.
like really, secretary and boss, yeah. And he's your ex boyfriend's dad, and I mean, granted, I felt bad for the son. It's like like the relationship between the father and the son is like went out the window, but
Oh, it wasn't that strong to begin with, I
no,
don't
it's
think.
not.
Yeah.
It's not, but he's trying to build a relationship with him. But then, but they
Yeah.
make sense. Charlie and Emerson make sense though.
Yeah.
Cuz if you think about it, like with Charlie and Bo, Charlie's like a strong character. So she needed a stronger MMC, and that's
Right.
Emerson. So, yeah.
They were perfect.
Yeah, well, and then what was it? Give me more the second one, right? I believe it's the step siblings, Garrett
Eyes
and
on Me?
Eyes on Me. Yes, Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
Give Me More is the other one. So Eyes
Yeah.
on Me was my second favorite because it was step siblings, but there's also a big age gap with them, and
Yeah.
this voyeurism, the kink
Yeah,
in
that
that
was
one.
I enjoyed that one. Praise
Yeah.
is still my favorite
Oh yeah,
though.
definitely
That was a good
Praise.
one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Forbidden and
And
I
then if you
like to
want
read
like
them.
super age gap, then you would read Highest Bidder in that um series because Silver Fox over there.
Oh, okay. I did not read that one.
Yeah, Ronan. I mean, it didn't bother me that he was like super old and stuff like that. It didn't. I don't know. It's just it didn't click as much. Like I mean, like I knew he was a silver fox and all that stuff. Like with the model cover anyway, you could tell he's a
Yeah.
silver fox. But it wasn't like it still made sense, kind of like their relationship.
But I have to, and we talked about this before. I have to
Yeah.
remember this isn't the real world
Right. Yeah, you
because I'm
can.
always thinking, oh crap, she's going to be 40. He's going to be like 80. And then
So
Is she going to have to wipe his ass? And it's just not the real
yeah, no.
world. It's like when
This
I
is
close the
why
book, it's
this
done.
is why when they end, it ends still on a like, he's still kind of young-ish. And when I think about like Silver Fox, like I would always like imagine Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So
Yes.
I'm okay with him. Like,
Right. And he
like
married the
he's
girl from One Tree
One Tree Hill.
Hill.
Yeah. So that's like age gap over there. Because she was in her 20s, 30s, and he was like way up there.
He's at least what, 20 years older, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So it wasn't like so when there is always like a silver fox kind of thing, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna imagine it's gonna be Jeffrey Dean Morgan, so it's still
There you
hot.
go.
It's like he's still
Problem
hot. Like,
solved.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, then we touch base with motorcycle romance. Like I
Oh, okay. I kind of fell
loved.
off with that.
I did fell off too. I used to like. I think late 2022, early 2023. That's all I was like reading was
Yeah.
motorcycle romance, but because they're always series like interconnected standalone, so it's all well. I mean, it's a motorcycle club. It's gonna be a bit like a lot of characters
Yeah.
in it to begin with, so that it makes sense if they have like 10 books or whatever. But also they're kind of fast paced ish, and they're also
Right.
short. They're not like over 300 pages, so
Right.
you can
Well,
still read those like super quick. You know.
this is my favorite one, and never mind my dusty shelf. So I don't know if you've ever read her, Bethany Dawn.
Mm-mm.
She's indie author,
Mm.
so I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
But look at this cover. I had to
that's
own
a
them.
pretty yeah.
It's she has like all of them. I picked the discrete covers.
Uh,
So they're
yeah.
each different flowers on it, but she
Yeah.
has a series. I beta read for her. I
Mm.
did not beta read this last one. I kind of ran out of time,
Yeah.
but she has a new release that just came out. It's the last in the series. It's a motorcycle romance, and it's each character gets, it's kind of like what we were talking about with the mafia. They get their own story, and
Mm-hmm.
it's age gap is one. I don't think it's that big of an age gap though. And then you have like the why choose,
Yeah.
and then this last one, I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna read it. But she's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so there's like, and the majority of the ones that I read are like usually like they're dual authors. So
Oh, okay.
one of them that's my favorite. I think it's like a mother-daughter duo. And they're really really good. Like they have shit, what is it? It's a Montana motorcycle club. That's what I remember. And I loved it. It was quick and stuff, but they also have like a spin-off with like kind of like mafia, like
Oh,
other stuff.
okay.
But they work together with the motorcycle club and all
Okay.
that stuff. And there's like a backstory for those characters because they're related to one character in the motorcycle club and all that stuff. But it's really I really like it. I don't have the book yet because I was waiting for the discrete cover. I like the discrete cover. Well, not so like the model covers, they were always like the female and the male characters. It's not just like the guy. And then there's another one that I really like. They're dual author as well. I forgot their name, but they have like I think it's a Texas motorcycle club. And then
Okay.
it has a spin-off with the Arizona chapter. I haven't read the Arizona yet, but I finished the Texas one because it was only like
Okay.
chapters. Yes. And then like the last one was I felt like it's almost kind of it was reminiscent of Sands of Anarchy.
Okay.
But it was that it reminiscent, but it's not like they got it from there. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just there was like I felt like I've read this and all that stuff, but then like like but I from when I remembered like oh it's Sands of Anarchy, but they killed off that chick in Sands of Anarchy, like the FMC in
Yeah.
that book. So it just like had that feel to it, but it wasn't. And then there's T.O. Smith who has motorcycle and then like the gangs kind of thing.
Okay.
Like she has those spin-off. Haven't finished some of them. So, but I have them on like my eventually I'm gonna read them once she
Yeah.
finishes them, because then at least I would just, or he or she, I don't know the author, but like it's T.O. Smith, and then I will read them back to back, because then they're quicker to read
Yeah.
once they're like, I'm not waiting. Because the reason I stopped was like, I'm waiting for the next one, and I'm just like, I don't have like, no.
I know. I agree. Yeah, sometimes you wait too long, you just like then it ends up on the bottom of the
Yeah,
list.
right. Well, because then it's like, um, what do you call that? I mean, they're like spin-off, but then if I'm gonna start the new series, then I want to at least have 3 or 4 books already. So by the time they're,
Yeah.
reading, yeah. And that's why like with that one with the Texas and the Arizona. The Texas one or the Arizona came out the very first book, but then it took a while before the second book. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait. And they're still writing more, so I'm like, I'm just gonna wait.
Just wait it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Ashley M. Edmonds. She
Okay.
wrote a
I've
series.
I've heard of
Um
her.
they're quick and easy reads.
Hmm.
They're fast paced.
Is it the
Um
Twisted something?
um mm,
Is it the Colorful?
yes.
I feel like they're on my Kindle or my.
Oh
mm,
God, I can't find them now, but I have them. Why can't I think of the name? I've lost my mind.
Is it Twisted
But
Souls?
yeah, it's a whole series and it was really good. She
Is it
gutted
this
me at the
one?
end. Yes, yes.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
there's 4 books and then there's a novella about one of the characters. So that was good.
So it's the
Um
Rebirth of Havoc MC romance,
yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
It's in there eventually. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody told me it was like really good, but like I think I got that book from like Stuff Your Kindle Day, so I was just like, yeah,
Yeah. It
let's
was
put it
I
on.
thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I read the whole series very quickly.
Yeah. But yeah, I
So
haven't been like really in the
I
mood.
burnt
The only
myself out.
one, the only one that I am going to read is Ellen Terry's. Uh, I bought her book. I pre-ordered it, like the newest one. It's the Rebel Skulls
Okay.
series. So the book one was Sugar and Skulls, and it kind of like it. The first two or three are like they're all the same. I don't know. I think the first two they're the first gen, and then 3, 4, like the next couple books are like second generation
Okay.
and stuff. But they still like there's interconnected standalones. I mean, there's like huge gaps in years for when the books got, the story. So it's not like you can read it. You'll just there's just oh, they're married kind of thing. Like you'll just figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah.
But those
Yeah,
are
I burnt
more,
myself out with those. Like I was just reading so many and it's
yeah,
like I don't want to think about another
yeah.
motorcycle.
But they're more emotional than um they're heavily on triggers, like trigger warnings.
Okay.
Like they're more emotional, like more mental health than action packed, like a regular motorcycle thing. I mean, they will still have like the rival motorcycle club,
Mhm.
but it's not like the biggest plot point for it. It's the emotional development, like how they deal with
Sometimes
their
that's I
past.
like those.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah, because like Sugars and Skulls, that kind of like made me cry. Like, yeah. And that was like super like age gap. Like it's the dad's best friend.
Oh, I've read some like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind those. Like, or
Mm-mm.
I read one that was um the godparent.
Yeah, me too.
I
I
think
forgot
it's
which one it
Ash I
was.
think it's Ashley Munoz. Or no, Ali Stern. It was Ali Stern, Forbidden
Oh,
Fireflies.
yes. Yes, I
I
read that.
love that. I
That
love
was
that one.
so good.
That
That
was
was The
good.
Godfather, right.
Yes, that was a good part. But it was a good transition because they showed you like when she was growing up, but it
Right.
wasn't like awkward or like you're creepy or anything. Like it wasn't like that. It was like literally he was like helping her grow up, and then there was a switch.
Right.
Yeah,
That
but
was really good.
it was gradual. Yeah. Has she done the second book yet? I don't think she has.
I haven't seen anything for it. I've read that of hers, and then
I don't think there was a second book yet.
Penniless or whatever. That was not so. That was so good though. That was mafia-esque. I haven't seen anything because normally she promotes it.
Well, I'm on her art team. Oh, I haven't like read Penniless yet.
That's more twin brothers, mafia, really, really demented,
Mm. Yeah,
real dark.
I don't
It
think
was
I
good.
signed up for her art because I know she has a new one that's gonna come out. It's
We don't
it,
have time for any more arcs, Marjorie.
well, I'm on her art team.
I was. I don't think I am anymore.
But I didn't sign up because you have a choice of signing up. I didn't sign up for the Penniless, but I think I signed
No,
up.
I think that was before. Those are older.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah, that was those are older.
okay, yeah. So I'm waiting for the second book in that uh Kings of whatever this is. Anyway, Forbidden Firefly because it was really good. I really liked it. And I know she was working on the second book, but then I was like, I don't have any I haven't heard anything. But she has a new one coming out in June. It's Pierced by Arrows. And it's a Green Arrow inspired romance. I don't think I signed up for that one. So
Mm.
because I'm like, where is your motorcycle? I want to do the second book. Because like, yeah, because
Right.
I even asked because like when I first read it, I was like, the girl's dad. I mean, I understand the mom was the soulmate, but you still want him to have like somebody,
Come on. Yeah.
right? Somebody told me it's like, well, one of the people in that group was just like, I don't think she's gonna write one for him because it's too soon. And I was like, I'm just asking. I was like, I'm just curious, like for the future,
Yeah, we can
like
fast forward 5 years,
yeah. I mean,
3 years.
I didn't say like 6 months from now she should. Obviously, that's his soulmate, like or whatever, the love of his life. But
Yeah.
he's not. It's not like he's so old. He's still young. Like he's young. He could have somebody for him. But yeah, yeah. Like somebody was so offended. I feel like I offended somebody that how dare I ask that fucking question?
Okay, but they're not real.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah,
As
but
much as we want them to be.
yeah, the author the author responded, but she responded nicely, which was like, yeah, right now, like, there's no plan, like, I don't think I'm in the headspace to, like, write his or anything. I was like, okay, that makes sense. But the other person, I was just like, go yourself, man. Like, I was just asking a question because you are gonna wonder what happens to him, you know,
Yeah,
like, as a reader, like, you're gonna be curious about the other characters.
I agree.
So we still have
Well,
more.
I think we're done with the subgenres. I
I
think the
mean,
ones, I think we hit all the major
yeah,
ones.
and I mean, because like billionaires, all majority of the stuff, it's like I always like them to be billionaires because it just doesn't make sense. Like,
I know. Don't no, because we don't want the poor
right,
MMC. I
or
mean, I
the
had
middle
the
class
poor
one, like,
MMC in
or
real life.
yeah, or the middle class one. It's like it's just not
No.
fun. Like,
One of them's got to be rich.
right, they have to because like it doesn't make sense for somebody that's a middle class who's like a fucking asshole. Like, why are you being an asshole?
Right,
What do you
right.
have to show up for? I'm sorry.
Again, it
Like,
sounds a lot like real life, and that's not
right.
what I'm here for.
Well, and that's the thing. Is like, what do you have to show up for being an asshole? Like feeling like you're a hot shot? Nothing. Get the fuck away from me if you're that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So I like billionaires as well. So, but yeah.
And I think we talked about this. I'm not a, I'm, listen, I'm not yucking anybody's yum, but I am not a small town romance gal.
Mhm.
If it's just contemporary small town romance, it's just not for me.
Mhm.
I can do small town romance if we're going to put some gray or black. Let's sprinkle some
Yeah.
of that in.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a while for me to. I mean, because like some motorcycle romance, they're small town,
Right.
but they're
Yeah.
also like there's action in it. Like yes, they're not rich or
I need
whatever, but
something.
that's different. Like not even like it is different. Um, yeah, small town romance is fine. I just finished one. It was good. It took me a while. But that's me though. Like with small town romance, I feel like majority of them they're always slow burn,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, and I'm fine with slow burn, but don't give me 60 chapters.
Yeah. Or make it like a really killer plot,
Mm-hmm. Which
or
is
suspense,
yeah.
whatever it is. You
So
can
this
slow
one had
burn the
like
hell out of it.
yeah. So this one had like a suspense, but for me, oh, I don't want to like do that because that's like recent and people will know which one I'm talking about. But anyway, it's like yeah, I like it when there's a suspense portion to it
Hmm.
because then there's like that gray area is gonna come into. But I don't feel like where you're dragging it, especially when it comes to like the relationship. If like you're only gonna make them make out like by 60%, I'm just just like,
Not
come
even
on.
any humping. I need
Yeah.
something.
Right. So that's why I was like, sometimes I feel like there it's just and you can feel the tension. Like there's like that sexual tension. It's like they gotta do something at some point. Like,
Somewhere. Yeah.
like somewhere in there. But don't wait until like 50%. Like, I don't know. Like so it has to like yeah, it depends.
Yeah. I have a few authors that write small town romance, and like how
Hmm.
you are with your mafia, that's how I'm going to stick. I'm going
Yeah.
to stay right by them, and that's it.
Yeah. And I would say though, like the one that I just read, new author to me, I am definitely interested with the with book two because when she introduced them, the characters in that as side characters, they're interesting, they're intriguing. I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Why? Like now I want to know. So, but yeah, I have to be in the mood for it. Or I have to arc for it, so then I'll be forced to like read it.
Yeah.
Because like if you're just gonna tell me like you're gonna recommend it, then I'll be like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be on the bottom of my pile.
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so like yeah, unless it's on our TBR jar that we can't say no to, then that's different. You're the one who made that rule, not me. I
I know.
just
Well,
said,
because it's only fair. Although we did try and buddy read that one book, and I was like, I was texting you. I'm like, are you reading it? Because
oh
it's
wait, which
not
one
good
is
for
it?
me.
Oh, the one, the very first one that we tried to buddy
I
read, and I'm
just
just
was
like,
that was
that's a
torture.
thick book too. I have the physical copy for it. Somebody bought it. My husband bought it for me because I had it on my wish list, and I'm like, well, I have to read it at some point.
It might be a very good book for someone else, but for
Mhm.
me, it was not. It wasn't enough. It was
Yeah.
too drawn out. I was like, no, I got to
I like
tap out.
I think I only like did one or two chapters, and I'm like, now I get it. Like tap out later. We're gonna come back to it.
And then last, I think this is the last one, unless I'm
Should
forgetting
be.
something. It's one that neither one of us really dabble into
Which one?
very much. Fantasy,
Oh yeah.
romantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't I got no I don't have any I don't have anything. Because I think
Um,
I mean I don't think vampires are considered are they even in the romantasy fantasy? I don't think that I think
that's
that's paranormal, right?
paranormal. Yeah. I don't sometimes I'll do a shifter. Like there's something
Mm.
about the wolf, but they can't be in wolf form.
Yeah. So like paranormal there is two authors that I would read. Cuz like at the beginning of like me reading dark romance, there was one and then I was like then they there was like a big space for the next book and then I just like totally forgot about it. And I was just like
Hmm.
whatever. And it was a white choose. I believe it was a white choose, but then I was just like there's a big gap. I forgot the story. I'm not even going back into it. But they were a quick read. I just didn't feel like it. And that's the end of like the vampire stuff. But there's only two ones that I would reread them. But it's not like uber vampire story. There's other stuff into it.
I wouldn't mind vampire. Like I have read
Like their
some
physical characteristics is like they're vampire, but they're not like the usual
like True
vampire
Blood.
story. Yeah, like it's not like that. So it's like J.R. Ward and Sherilyn Kenyon. Because like with Sherilyn Kenyon, it has to do with Greeks, the Greek, no, gods and goddesses. It's not just the Greeks. It's like Atlanteans and all that stuff,
Hmm.
like that type. And I like the Greek mythology anyway. In high school, I used to love those. So that one I would read, but there's so many books in there. I think there's 40 books in there, and she's still writing them. So it's just like that. And then J.R. Ward's the same. It's like they have like vampire characteristics, but it's still different. Like it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to like read
The
it.
last part is, and I think these are pretty much self-explanatory. They don't need a whole
Yeah, I mean we talked about them a
litany
little
of
bit.
stuff because we brought up a lot of it, the
Mhm.
different tropes, and we covered the step sibling.
We
Um,
covered enemies to
we
lovers.
covered the, oh well, you know what, taboo, forbidden. We did all that. Enemies to lovers, which we, that's pretty much almost everything we read.
Right. Age gap we
Age
covered.
gap,
We
bully.
covered bully.
The
Um
only thing we might want to touch on is, I think it's one of your favorites, Stalker.
oh yeah. Oh, you don't like soccer that much, right?
It's it's not that I don't. I can't read them back to back, and
Oh. Yeah,
yeah,
they're hard to read back to back because I mean, let's face it, they're very dark. I mean, it's stalker. Like,
a
come
lot
on.
of
Like,
and usually there's a lot of unaliving. Oh, I don't have to say
hmm
that. A lot of killing.
yeah, there's a lot of killing. A perfect example is hunting Adeline.
Yeah,
I mean, his gifts to you is like body parts on your doorstep. Like, come on. And then he's like
I
watching you
know.
from your window or from your bedroom. He's in your bedroom without you
Yeah, and
knowing.
then he's shoving guns up your wahoo.
Right? Exactly. Again,
That was wild.
this is not beginners. Like,
No, this is not
uh,
for the faint of heart. Do
well,
not
and
start
also it's
here.
like, do not like, don't recommend it as a starter. Like,
No, that's not a
Hunting
starter.
Adeline and the Lord series are not starter pack. Okay, they're just
No,
not. Like,
I need you to
especially if
wait
you have
5 books at
triggers.
least.
If you have triggers, but if you're like me, you're just like gonna dive in blind. Go for it. I mean,
Challenge accepted.
yeah. I mean, I dove in blind with Chantel Tessier, and my very first book was um
The
shit.
ritual.
No, it's the prequel. What was the name?
What?
Sabotage. Sabotage was my
Oh
very first one. That's
yes.
like fucking diving in blind on there
Is
because he
that
was
is
it's
that step sibling?
step
Yes, I
siblings,
was
but
really good.
they work for Tyson, and
Right.
I mean it was good. I mean I wish the other friends had their own books, but I mean
Mm.
the very first chapter in that was like he was sharing her, like
Yeah. That's,
trying to
if
take.
you're ready to go to the next level, that's a great one. You'll be
Mhm.
hooked because you'll go from sabotage, you'll go right into the ritual, the
Right,
sinner. That's
yeah,
good.
but that's like a very bully romance. Like it's not a beginner's one either. And I
Mhm.
jumped into that. I was just like, yeah, it sounds good. Like if somebody like recommended it, I'm like, okay, let's read it. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. You'll question yourself and say, "Do I like this?
Right.
I
I
like
don't
this,
know.
I think."
I don't know if I question myself. I just like read.
Yeah.
I like what I like, and then I don't like what I don't like. That's it.
Yeah.
And as long as like whoever I talk to can respect enough like that my opinion or my opinion and don't judge me for it or like
No, this is
take offense
judgment-free zone here.
take offense that like we don't have the same opinion for a book,
Mm.
then like I'm okay with that.
I
If
don't feel judged by you with
yeah,
my
oh no.
taboo.
No. I just tell you like I don't read
Like, do I
it.
like it in real life? No.
No, 'cause it's
No.
like but
Yeah,
yeah, like I mean, yeah, that's my only thing. It's like, I like what I like.
that's it.
You know, I mean, there are some books that we've read that we have like difference in opinion.
Yeah, like the Mindfuck series. And
Yeah,
again, it's not that it was written extremely well. I
yeah,
can't fault the author. It's
yeah.
just
I feel bad. Like I'm so
wasn't for
sad.
me.
I'm so sad the author passed away like a couple of years
Yeah,
back, and I'm just like, oh, but you're such a great writer.
yeah.
It's
I don't
sad.
fault her
Yeah,
at all because it was
it's a great.
written.
It was
Yeah.
written beautifully, and
And I have to say, I read it very quickly.
mhm,
I read it. I think put it on my Kindle and I got all of them. So I just
Yeah.
rolled right
Same
into the
thing. Yeah.
next. And
Yeah.
it was really good. It's just
Yeah. And that's what I tell people because like people will buy because when you buy it, it's the omnibus, right? It's the whole
mhm.
book. So people get intimidated by it. And I was like, well, don't read the physical book. Don't do it via the physical
Yeah.
book. Go to Kindle, borrow it or buy it, whatever. But like they're by themselves because then it's easier to like,
And you'll roll right
oh,
through it. I
yeah,
don't care how many pages. It's a good read.
yeah, it is. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart, I would
No.
say. Like, it's definitely heavy with a. I don't remember if there was trigger. I am one of those people that skip trigger warning.
I
I'm
do
gonna tell you
too.
that. Like,
Nothing's
so
gonna get me.
I mean, I will tell you like, oh, there's trigger warnings. Read them, or yeah, read the trigger warnings before you read this book. If you're gonna ask me what the triggers are, I don't know. My answer is gonna be I don't know because I skip through those shit. Like I don't
If you
read
even
them.
have to ask that question, don't read it.
Yeah.
If you have to say what are the trigger warnings and it's just not for you.
Yeah, because I was like, well, I don't read trigger warnings. I mean, the only one that I would say I read was the one that I didn't like, and then the other one was like Butcher and Blackbird. But that's because it was like posted like ahead of time, and I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. I laughed
That was
out
a
loud.
really good book. That
Yeah,
is a
rom com.
serial. It's not stalker. That's serial
That's serial
unaliver.
killer. It's
Yeah,
serial killer.
that I keep saying unaliver. I'm so like
Because we're used to saying
conditioned
it,
to say
saying
this.
yeah. I mean, when you even when you're like typing it, serial
I
unaliver.
know.
4K.
That was a really good book. So
Yeah,
that's yeah.
yeah. You know
Well,
what
I
we
think that
forgot?
we
Which trope? Arranged marriage slash
oh yes, that's a good one.
marriage of convenience.
Yes, that
I love
one.
those on
They're usually
billionaires
mafia.
or mafia.
Yes,
Mafia,
agreed.
definitely mafia. Well, I mean,
That's a good one.
yeah, billionaire too, because like,
Yep.
sometimes it's like, but I still want to have more money that I can
Awesome.
spend. Like, yeah. Yeah. So I
Oh,
like those. I love those because again, they're kind of like sometimes majority of the time they're like enemies to lovers.
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
I'm
they're
sorry.
arranged.
Enemies to lovers will always be my favorite trope.
Yeah.
It has to be in there. And that's why I have a little list here of least favorite. I don't like friends to lovers because to me that reads contemporary romance and I'm not
Hmm.
big on that. I'm not
Yeah.
saying there aren't any that I don't like what is her name? Is it oh god shit. Swati MH.
Oh, oh, I know who you're talking about.
She has the book I read it was Ablaze,
Hmm.
fireman romance, and they were friends to lovers, brothers friend. Yes, that was really good contemporary romance, but I just don't
Yeah, see, the only one that I really like as far as friends to lovers was I told you this the other day, was Eva Winner's um Kings of a Billionaire. But it made
okay.
sense. It wasn't like I don't know, it hit differently. It's just yeah. But like it's almost like it's an assumption that they're never gonna get together, but they have like they're attracted to each other.
Yeah,
Like
if
they have
there's
the
angst, a
like they
good
have the
amount of it, I'm okay.
like they were attracted to each other, but for some reason they ended up like just being friends because like the best of friends, and then they ended up together anyway. Early, like
Later.
they ended up getting married early on in the book,
Oh, okay,
and then
okay.
it's and then they're like, okay, well, obviously we love each other, like, but they didn't want to like because she was best friends with his sister too.
Okay,
So it's
yeah.
like they didn't want to like they didn't know if it's like, oh, is it just gonna be like a one night stand kind of thing? Because he's a playboy, so it's like I don't, I don't want to like sleep with you if it's just gonna be a one night stand kind of thing.
But
But they
you've
were,
just sprinkled in
yeah,
forbidden. So
yeah,
it's not I'm saying yeah, yeah. If you
yeah,
sprinkle in something else, I'm
right,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Well, because or like if it's like a friends to enemies to lovers, that one I'm okay. So it's like
Me
something
too.
happened. Um, oh, there's an author that did that, and I was okay with that. I'm pretty sure it's Kelsey Clayton. She had one. I think it's a high school romance, and I don't remember the title, but it was a while back. But it was like friends to enemies to lovers. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. You have to have a little something, a little
Yeah, but
gray.
it's that. But like when you start the story, they're already enemies. But they will tell you like, "Oh, we used to be friends." Like, what happened,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. Like, you know. Then you find out, and then and it's that. So it's
Yeah.
not just like it started out where they're already friends, and then I feel like those are like very slow burn.
I know.
They take
That's not for
forever.
me.
I don't like. Yeah, I can't do slow burn,
No
especially when
slow burn, no fade to black.
yeah.
Please.
Like
Please.
I'm on a reading slump. Like I'm like slow reader this month. So I'm just like I
Yeah.
can't do. That's why it took me 2 weeks to read that small town romance. I felt bad. Like and everyone like I would everyone was like promoting it. I was like, God damn it. Like I need to finish this and get on with it. Like I
Yeah.
could not. Yeah. I think that's it for the tropes and
Yeah.
subgenres.
Cheating and pregnancy. I can only do pregnancy trope if it's in the epilogue because it's like at the happy ever after. Like if they're gonna put pregnancy in, it's after everything's made nice and wrapped up
um,
in a bow.
I don't. Mhm. I'm okay with it. Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. I mean, it depends on the story and who's the writer. Because I've read some. Like,
I
Evil
don't.
Winners had one.
Oh, that. All right. Luciano.
Oh, that's a secret
Yes.
baby, though. That's secret baby.
Yeah, but she's still. That was okay with that. That was a really good book. I loved that one.
There was a couple. I think like, there's a couple Evil Winners that had like the pregnancy
It's just not my go-to.
or miscarriage kind of thing. But it kind of makes sense in the story. It's not just
Yeah.
like or it's not even like part of the tropes that they would it more than likely it would go to the trigger like if it's the miscarriage and stuff and like
Yeah.
that it's like
Okay.
on the
Yeah.
trigger but it's not like oh this is a like a pregnancy trope or whatever like that's like the main plot or whatever it happens obviously like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just not my favorite.
Cheating and never like, I'm
Cheating.
sorry never
Yeah.
never
Not between the two main characters. No.
I just don't like it in general how about that
Ever?
ever this is why I didn't like that one book
Oh, okay.
that the one book that I should have fucking DNF. That's
Okay.
why it was like less than I didn't put a star rating in it because I knew I was
But
gonna
what
be
if I'm not trying to convert you, but I just want to I just want to ask.
yeah.
So the female character comes home and her boyfriend, fiance, whatever, is
Mm.
cheating on her with whomever. That leads to her meeting the main male character and then they live happily ever after eventually.
Yeah,
No?
but that if you're but I've read those where like the guy cheated on not like between the main characters, but like she got out of the relationship though.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like cuz it's
Oh,
usually in the
I know what you
beginning
mean.
like
She's staying in
like
it.
yeah,
Oh,
like if it's
yes.
staying in it, like
No,
that
no.
one where she stayed and then she was cheating on her boyfriend
Right.
and then
No, that's shitty.
my issue with that was like she's blaming the other guy. It's like, dude, the other guy like get is like running away from him pretty much when he told you it's either me or him.
Right.
Like, get your fucking shit together.
No, if
And she
it's like
kept
a
like, and she kept like, okay, I'm gonna break up with him. And then she comes home and it's like, oh no, because but he owns the house, blah blah blah. Like,
yeah,
okay,
no,
no,
I
get
I
the fuck out of
totally agree
here.
with that.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
if it's one chapter of cheating
mhm.
early on and then the girl's trying to pick up her life and move on and meets the main male character and then yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
but
didn't
like,
mean like a whole book of cheating,
yeah,
no.
but that book was pretty
You're
much
right.
a cheating book. Like, and I was just like, I should have fucking DNF this a while back, but because I was listening to it, I was like, okay, like,
Oh,
when I was
listening
like,
was probably worse
it
than
was on
reading
Audible,
it.
and it was like one POV. It
Yeah,
was
I
like
know,
the
yeah.
girls, and I hate fucking one POV half the time.
I don't
Um,
mind that.
I mean, I don't mind it, but I also like sometimes it's just like I want to know what the guy is thinking.
I agree. Yeah, more often than not, I would
Yeah.
like to know, but if it's
Well,
written
especially
really
like,
well,
yeah,
you know,
especially if it's like a bully romance, then I want to know like what's the guy's thinking? Like
I don't think
why?
you like a why choose or a bully. I don't think you should be allowed to write it without dual point of view.
That one that you recommended with me was a oh shit. Sam Mariano.
Was
It was one POV.
it? Was
It
it?
was a good one. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. But it was like just her point of
I
view.
didn't even
And I was
remember
just
that.
like,
Untouchable.
where the fuck is his point of view? Like, because I wanted to know.
I think we saw what his point of view was way early.
Yeah, he was just a fucking dick. Like,
Yeah.
man, like, and he was just like, I
That
can
was
do
a
what
good
I,
one. If anyone's looking for a real trigger happy, trigger pushing, I should say,
yeah. I mean,
book,
like,
that's, I mean,
I mean, he did pretty much say, it's like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. And he was. He
I
was.
was
He
like,
didn't say, I mean, the first couple chapters, I hated
it was
him.
rough. It
He
was
was rough.
rough.
Like, I hated him. But with that being said, I mean, did he do
He
anything?
evolved.
Yeah, he evolved. It was just like, okay, but I still
That was
wanted to
something.
know. I wanted to know what he was thinking, and it
Okay.
just did not happen. Like it just did not happen, and I'm just like, wow, like okay, but yeah, like I don't. Yeah, that one book that I should have DNF. I was listening it to Audible, so I was like trying to push through it because I was like thinking, I was like, well, I was looking at the percentage. I was like, okay, she's gonna break up with this fucking asshole
Yeah.
soon. Holy shit. Like she did not break up with him until like
I know. It was one excuse after the other, but
yeah, and then I was
yeah.
like I'm just
Mm.
yeah. Yeah, I was pissed. And I was like so I think to myself like why is everybody love this book? Like why?
I
This is
liked it.
and I that's why I didn't even read the other one that was kind of like the side character, one of the side
Oh,
character.
yeah. I want to read that one.
Yeah, but then I also like there's like addiction in it
I
too.
know. I
So it's
have,
like, I it's not a trigger. It's more of just like, I don't really want to read it. Like,
it's, it's going to be emotional.
right.
And I just am not in that
Well,
headspace
and
right
also, I read to spoil myself just because I didn't know if I wanted to read this author again or not. But, um, so I read the reviews and there's like, the FMC wasn't the greatest, I guess, either.
She's a
So I'm
train
just
wreck,
like,
I think. I think they're
yeah. And
enablers,
that's
right?
what it's like. Yeah, that's like, she's a train wreck. And I'm like, well, I don't want a train wreck. Like, I mean, I'm okay with train wrecks, but they gotta evolve. And
Yeah.
from what I was reading on reviews, it's just like it's
I
just
don't, I will read it eventually, but I feel
well, let me know
like
when you read
I
it.
like that. I like that character so much
Um,
that
the guy.
I do. He was so likable.
Yeah, he was likable. He was likable because he
And
was
I'm afraid.
funny. He was funny in that, but I think it was more serious in the other one. But it was like they're from what I read, it's like
They're
they're very
toxic.
toxic to each other, and it's kind of like
I'm not ready.
when it's. I feel like for me, when it comes to those, one of them should not be an addict either. Like both of them should not be addict. Like at least one has to be able to pull that guy, the person out. Like it's kind of like it's like an evolution. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like a pivotal moment where like I don't want to lose this person. Then I have to change, like that type of stuff.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not ready for it yet. I'll
Yeah,
have to be like,
maybe next year it'll be ready.
maybe next year.
There's one series that I kind of enjoyed it. I didn't know what I was getting into when I read it. So I read it in Halloween of 2022. Started it and I was like, oh God, this is fucking like I was bored 5 chapters in. I'm just like, I can't. So I said, I'll do it later. Then I listened to it like when we were driving from Florida to Montana. I listened to it. So I finished the whole drive. That's all I was listening to. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that it was paranormal. I thought it was like,
Oh,
but because I was listening to it, it's like, that's fine. I'll just listen to it. I'll continue listening to it. It was weird. But it's like a why choose romance. but it's like one guy per book. Like, you know.
Okay.
So there's this like four guys that are sort of kind of friends. But anyway, but it's like paranormal. I haven't read, I tried to read book two. I couldn't get into it.
Mm.
Somebody said it's like, but I like the last book is the character that I was very interested with. And I'm like,
Okay.
but I have to get to book two and book three. And then those two characters are not my favorite. So I'm just like, and they're like, well, maybe you should listen to Audible. But those are long books. They're thick books. I know that. So it's gonna like take
Yeah.
me a while. So we'll see. I'm hoping I could get back into it because I did. I finally enjoyed it. Like I think I was able to enjoy it because I was listening to it. I wasn't like reading it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of
Something.
those
Yeah.
like there are some things that you're like when I'm reading it, I don't like it, and then when you listen to it, it's like okay, I'm okay with
I
that.
tend
You
not
know.
to listen. I don't know. I'll have to give it another go.
Mm. I don't. I mean, it's definitely. It has to be like a book and good narrators too.
That's funny.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't want to say who it is because people might say that I'm like being mean or anything. But like I said, I'm not a big paranormal
I'm not
person,
either.
so
Yeah. I've read some, but
they
I've just
have
there's
to
so
be like
many other
really
things I could
good.
read.
Like they have to be really good, and like, I mean, I get it why they're slow burn because like you're building the world anyway. Like you
Oh, I just
know,
read one. And
which
I
one?
only read it because I read the review and it said that the it was like monster, but not like he's in another realm. Like
Mm.
he comes and takes your soul when you die. So I heard, and it said in there he had two penises. I was like, oh, I'm in. I gotta read this. It was a novella. I read it in like an hour and a half.
Well, this is a novella. So like that one, the one that I was telling you about. It's like, okay, so this
Yeah.
was weird because when you're listening to it, it's like you're gonna fucking anyway. Okay. So we've gone
Oh
through all
no, no,
you haven't read that.
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's four books in that series.
I haven't read
Anyway.
any of them.
Yeah, anyway. We've done the tropes, we've done the
I think
subgenres.
that's it. I think.
I think, yeah. Oh well, do you want to still do the
Oh yeah, let's do the
TBR? Okay.
TBR jar. Yes,
So,
yes.
well, do you want to talk about what the TBR jar is?
So Marjorie and I have decided to each do TBR jars. And we've both agreed that no matter what we pull,
Mm-hmm.
we have to read it unless we both agree to DNF it and then
Well, but my TBR jar is like just authors.
yeah. So we're
So
just
we can
doing
both pick.
authors and we'll choose a book from that author.
Yeah. And then go from there if we're gonna continue or not. But that will be like one of the episodes that we'll probably do is like
Yes,
when
book
we're not. But
review.
majority of our episodes would be interviewing authors. So
Yes.
and we
We
do
have some
have
really great ones coming up.
yeah, coming up. Two in June so far that are coming out. Should
And
I
two in
mean
July or two or
yes,
three?
and then
Two
two
in
in
July.
July,
So
and then we're like still waiting on other authors. But here's my TBR jar. It's tiny right now.
okay. Here we go. I'm so nervous.
Like, I have to shake this. Uh,
How many
okay.
times did you put Eva Winters in there?
No, she's not even on here
Okay,
because I already read majority of hers. It's
okay.
not even fair to like. I'm not rereading. I'm sorry. Okay, I picked one. I
Okay,
didn't.
do
I
it.
didn't because it's like it's folded. All right. Oh my god. So Eva Ashwood.
Eva Ashwood. Okay. I'm
Oh
writing it down in my
gosh.
book.
Yeah, Eva Ashwood. I haven't
Okay.
read her. She's been in my TBR
I
for
haven't.
forever. So we should.
Okay.
I think my preference for anything really is like if they write interconnected series, which I think she does. I'd rather start from the beginning.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I don't want to just start any old place. Yeah. So let's start in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
So
We'll talk about
An
it.
upcoming episode will be a
Eva Ashwood
Eva Ashwood book. We'll
review.
do a review and we will let you know what book it is. We'll post it on our social media, Bookstagram, Instagram, whatever you want to call it, and
Yeah.
TikTok. So
Don't forget to follow our Instagram and TikTok, YouTube as well, because we'll probably some of our episodes will be posted in
what
there.
we'll be able to post. So they're
What will
all
them?
unfiltered romance nights. So you'll be able
Yeah.
to find us quickly.
Yeah. But I'll also probably put it on the description what our at's at. So
Yes.
this is
Perfect.
a mouthful.
I know.
Mouthful. Mouthful. Cutting that out. I'm sorry.
You got your mouth and you got your head in the gutter.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's nighttime. Come on now.
I know.
All right. Well, you want to do the thing before it becomes so awkward in here.
No, thanks for joining us and check us out on our social media sites. Tagged. Have a good night.
Okay.
Tagged.
Tagged. All right. We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.